Last episode was an insane episode. We got 10 buildings done. Well, no, that's actually a lie. We only got 9 buildings done because I forgot to do the flower shop. Well, don't worry, we have done that, as well as a little bit of decoration here and there. You might notice the area around me last episode was very bare, very barren. But don't worry, my dudes, I've hopped around with my spade, a few hedges, some birch fence, and some bone meal, and decorated this place up a storm. So without further ado, let me show you what we've done. So the first area we had to approach was this ugly divider between the retaining wall here and our estates up on the ridge. So I wanted to bring across a nice border wall with some Japanese orchids, some azalea leaves, some birch fences, and decorate this place up pretty nicely. And then continuing that trend, we moved around in front of the, I think it's the stonemason, and the sawmill, and of course decorated around here, added some pathing and these amazing cherry blossom trees. Now of course, in the bottom of the lower city, we wanted to raise the terrain up here so that it would match the avenue that leads out of the city towards the village. And that's exactly what we've done. I hope you're happy with how this looks. It's bare bones for the moment, but we will decorate this further once we fill in the area and get these buildings upgraded. And then finally, over at the back of the lower city, like I said, the idea we had was to add a moat around the castle, and that's what we've done. We've also added some decoration back here, but we do have one more building to build. So I want to leave this area nice and free and open to give us some options. There's no point in decorating if you're just going to replace something down the line. And this area here is what this episode's going to be about. But before we get onto that, let's finish up the last build of last episode, the flower shop. And so here we go. A lot of acacia, a lot of mangrove used in this building, but that's a-okay. Those are both things we have in spades. So absolutely no problems building this building. The flower shop from Shogun style is very cool. One of the big complaints I mentioned to Spumantii I have from other mine colony styles and mine colonies in general is a really slow building. It takes forever for flowers to grow, and they're pretty much the best way to get your hands on most of the dyes around the colony. And you do end up needing a fair amount of dyes, especially for things like beds and carpets. And that's what's really cool about the flower shop, is that it isn't just one flower shop. It's actually 3 in 1, plus it's also got some apiaries hidden inside it, so you can even do your beekeeping here as well. Very cool. And as the building finishes, it looks pretty good, but we're not going to stop at level 1 on this building, no way, because it looks, well, you know, way too basic. So we went to level 2, okay, a nice upgrade, and then finally, boom, level 3. This isn't what the actual building looks like at level 3. The flowers and the fences and the paths, obviously in front, are my kind of personal touch, because I wanted to put some flowers down here so you know that this is the flower shop. And well, my dudes, there we go. So what are we going to be doing this episode? Well, there is one more building to build. Well, technically 2, but really just 1. We're going to be building the final building of the colony. It's a weird building that you don't always need very much at all, but it's a building from Minecolonies, so of course we're going to put it in the Shogun colony. Let's jump in game and I'm going to show you exactly what it is. So let's take a bit of a walkthrough through the lower city that is now almost completely finished. I really like this area we have underneath the gate. I think this looks amazing. These white lanterns from Chipped are also really cool. They look very Japanese and they've really oh no! Oh my god, well if it was ever going to happen, it was going to happen to the fisherman. Arctic Oromaru, Ripperoni and Pepperoni, my friend. We'll get onto that in a second. But yeah, these Japanese lanterns do look really cool. They've really helped spruce up the colony. So the path obviously goes around here, and we've added a bit of decoration, a way to get up to this guard tower, of course. And yeah, this leads down now to the stonemason's hut and the rest of the lower city. But also, the path goes this way, past the smeltery. And again, I wanted to add some decoration here, so we've added these Sakura Blossom trees. They look really good. This one, though, is probably going to get a decent-sized chunk chiseled out of it as we upgrade this building, because of course, yeah, all of our buildings down here are at the moment just level 1. So I didn't want to decorate way too heavily. That's why there's only trees and some bone meal splashed down here, because as the building grows, it's going to replace a lot of this. But yeah, I mean, we could go down to the bottom there and show you the lower city at the very bottom, but there's not much point. We added the avenue, of course, and there's a road that goes around, but again, we left the area bare because I was going to put the concrete mixer's hut here. However, I had a bit of a better idea. Let me show you. Along the way, of course, we've got all of this decoration. I really do like adding these lanterns on the bottom of the birch fence posts. I think it looks pretty cool. And the birch, azalea leaves, and these Japanese orchids are very much the theme and the motif of decoration around the colony. It's amazing how just sprinkling around a bit of nature, some trees, some hedges, and some fences can really spruce up your colony. If you ever think your colonies at home look a bit boring, try adding a bit of nature and see what happens. We also had some area around the back here for trees, but when the area is like very small, if we put down some natural trees, there's a high likelihood that the trees would lean over the building and just ruin the whole look. So that's why for this little garden area, what I did was I used the decoration trees from the Shogun style, these manual kind of jungle azalea, well, trees. They don't look 100% natural, but they do look pretty cool. And because they are a set size, you never have to worry about them messing things up. How's it going, Gohaku? Oh man, I love this guy's outfit. He does look like a real Japanese wise man, doesn't he? Anyway, yeah, there's the blacksmith. We've got a curving avenue staircase up here. I do like these curvy steps that go up the avenues from Shogun style. I reckon they look amazing. We've got a little bit of a pond down here, obviously some trees, some bushes, and the rest of that along this wall. And that's where you come to the estates. But yeah, the reason why I've come over to this edge of the colony is because I think there's a better place for us to put the concrete mixer's hut. There's a massive gulf of space here between the Doggo Onsen. I know some of you guys in the comment section really hate it when I call it the Doggo Onsen. What is it, the Dogo Onsen? Dogo? Yeah, that probably sounds a bit better. But yeah, between the Doggo Onsen and the graveyard, I reckon this big empty space is kind of the perfect size for the last hut, the concrete mixer's hut. So that's what we're going to be doing this episode. We're going to be getting the concrete mixer's hut in position. We're going to sort out Arctic Oromaru, of course. Find out where they died, because that's not actually in the colony, is it? That's not on their boat. How did they die down there? Oh, you know what? I know exactly what's happened here. They've been fishing, they've had to go back to the hospital or the restaurant or something, and they've probably gotten lost along the way. But let's go and find out where this gravestone is, because that's a weird place to die. Oh man, yeah, that's very weird indeed. Look at this. So it is miles underground. How's he even gotten there? This is definitely what happened. They were out fishing. They wanted to get back to the restaurant or something. They tried to navigate through some weird holes in the ground, got lost in some caves, and yeah, now they are deep underground where the zombies are. Well, we're not even going to go and get his grave. That's basically where he is. If I go in after him, I'm probably going to die myself. I did think that actually, yeah, this megatorch is pretty close to the fisherman's hut, so there's no way monsters could have gotten him here. But never mind. Out with the old Arctic Oromaru, and in with the new. It's gonna be Angry Spy. Yeah, we're gonna put an Angry Spy on a boat. Why not? And off they go, not gonna hang around, but maybe they want a fishing rod. I don't know. Oh, no, it's nighttime. They're probably going to sleep. Now, I recently did a tips and tricks video for Minecolonies. It was pretty fun. There's loads of tips that I missed though. And one of the cool tips I read in the tips and tricks comments was that the colonists can actually have a funeral when somebody dies. And what that means is everybody goes over to the graveyard, or I think everybody. They have a bit of a ceremony and then they get back to work, because what usually happens is if a colonist dies, the next day nobody does any of their jobs. So that day would be today, so I imagine no one's working today. Let's go over to the graveyard and see if this is possible, because it might be locked behind a higher level graveyard, and at the moment our graveyard is only level 1. That's a big failing so far in the lower city. All of these buildings are level 1. Usually I'd love to get them to level 3, but it was just way too much. Just the time lapses alone took a long time. So I wanted to wait until we get them up to level 3. Also, we still have one more building to build. But let's go over here to the graveyard and see what's happening. Alright, what's the score? Do we have a grave guy here? I wonder if the gravekeeper, Gohaku, that's him, right? Taking the long way to work, I see. Was he trying to get to the grave? Because there's no way he can. Let's bring him back. There we go, son. So, where is this? Gather targets? Arctic Oromaru. Can we cancel that? Because, yeah, I mean, there's no way you're going to get him, Gohaku. But also, yeah, I'm not seeing a button that lets us have an actual funeral, so that might be behind a higher level graveyard. Who's to say? Yeah, if he tries to go and get that grave, he's just going to turn himself into a grave. You know, as in die. And you know what, we'll leave him to it. Anyway, yeah, so our focus is the concrete mixer's hut. Last episode we couldn't do it because you need a smeltery to even do the research to get the concrete mixer's hut. However, we do have a smeltery now. So let's head on over to the university and see what materials are required to get the concrete mixer's hut. It should be very simple. It's probably going to be a bunch of concrete. Hello, Ryu Oromaru. Oh, I've got terrible news about your sister, your brother, your sibling. Yeah, they died. They were trying to get to the restaurant and they went spelunking. And yeah, they died in a cave and there was no Elon Musk to build them a submarine. So yeah, ripperoni and pepperoni. Anyway, we're looking down technology and we're going to see if we can find the concrete mixer's hut. I think it's pave the road. Here we go. Unlocks the concrete mixer's hut. We got the crusher. Oh, it was the crusher, right? Not the smeltery. That's okay. But we do need 32 of, I believe, any kind of concrete. Well, that's good. I was worried it was going to be a certain color, but now that it can be any color, that's pretty good. Wait, that reminds me. Oh, yeah, right. So it's not only that building that's the last one to do, we also need to get the research to unlock the alchemist. Those two are actually the last remaining buildings. But now we've unlocked the nether mine, we should probably build that as well. Well, okay, let's go and grab some concrete and go and check out where the nether mine is supposed to be. So we're lucky enough because the mine building itself does come with its very own special nether miner area. We didn't build the building yet because obviously we didn't do the research, but now we've got it. Here it is. So the nether mine, is this going to be hard to build? Oh no, look at this, so easy. We'll put EVBEX B on this and let's go and grab some concrete. So it is very handy that we can use any color of concrete powder because that means concrete powder, we can actually select red concrete powder. I think we've got loads of red dye lying around. So we're looking for 16 and then 16 and that makes 32 and that's exactly what we need. So now what we want to do is, oh, amazing, the nether mine is complete. Excellent stuff. So we want to mix the concrete powder with some water buckets. I think I've got some water buckets. Yeah, there's 6. Wait, what's the recipe for this? Do I just put it around the edge? There we go, 8. And then another water bucket. This is a bit tedious, but it's fine. There's another 8, and we'll do this a couple more times. Bam. And the last little bit. There we go. It's getting late though, so let's go and start the research. But also, now we've got the nether mine, well, obviously we're going to need to get a nether miner into the colony. Let's head on over to the mine first. Oh yeah. The nether miner is really important. Basically, if you do need things from the nether and you don't want to go, and let's be honest, when you're playing modded Minecraft, nobody ever wants to go to the nether. It's never a nice... Why is there a minecart here? What the hell? That's so bizarre. I'm just going to push this out of the way because it's a bit of a tripping hazard at the moment. But yeah, in modded Minecraft, nobody ever wants to go to the Nether. Thank you very much, EVBexB. It's not a fun place. Like, it never is. I've never known a mod pack to make going to the Nether be an enjoyable experience. It's always hell. Usually there's some weird temperature mechanics that mean you can't be there for long. If there isn't temperature mechanics, there's some crazy monsters that just one-shot you from across the map. Ugh, it's a nightmare. But anyway, yeah, it works a lot like a normal miner, but he doesn't actually build mines. In fact, the Nether miner doesn't even actually go to the Nether. Basically, he disappears, and then after a while he'll come back, and maybe he grabbed some materials, maybe he got eaten by a piglin. It is 50-50, and honestly, the Nether mine is the most dangerous job on the colony. Not because it's actually dangerous, because it's the only job you cannot protect the colonists from. There's just a straight up random chance every time the guy goes to the Nether that they won't come back. So picking somebody with good stats is a bit counterintuitive. It's usually better to pick someone with bad stats, like random Watts. There we go. Let's get them over here. There we go. Oh my god, looking like a ninja, which is actually the kind of person you do want to go to the Nether. Wait, hang on a sec. Where's the Nether portal? The Nether miner needed obsidian to get built, so where did they build the Nether portal? Is it underground? Maybe it's down here. Oh yeah, look at this. It's locked away down here. It's not lit at the moment. I guess maybe it doesn't need to be lit, although I think it does. If memory serves, I think it does need to be lit. Anyway, it's getting late, so we're going to have a sleep, and then we're going to do the concrete mixers research. Before we do the research though, let's just double check on some of the other settings, because things might have changed. No, not really. So what you can do is have the Nether miner close the portal every time they come back. That's quite good, because zombie piglins, while they're friendly to players, colonists hate them and they hate colonists. I don't know why. It's just a thing, but it's a pretty bad one. Now also, what's this? Why is there a menu at the Nether miner? Do we have to pick food for him to take to the Nether? Well, okay, we'll give him baked potatoes. Because that's a very easy one for us to manage. In fact, I've even got some on me. It's a pretty common food. And apart from that, he's also got some custom recipes. So he can actually make... Oh, he can make rotten flesh, gold nuggets, and soul sand, as long as you give him ladders, torches, and cobblestone. Oh, no, wait. And he can also turn buckets into buckets of lava. And that's really cool, and it makes sense, because often people go to the Nether for lava. So having the Nether miner be able to get it is actually a genius move. Anyway, we'll leave random Watts to it. They might be requesting a flint and steel at some point, so we might have to handle that. But for now, let's go over and do the research for the concrete mixer's hut. Okay, here we go. Yeah, looks like red concrete was fine. Pave the road, the concrete mixer's hut. So what was the other research we wanted to do? It was magic potions. Oh my god. Okay, so this kind of requires us to get some nether warts anyway. Also, yeah, let's check the clipboard because we can knock off a couple of these things now. We've got the crusher in place. We've got everything else. Oh yeah, look at this. All green across the board. We did forget the alchemist's hut, but it's okay because that actually comes with the onsen. It's one of the buildings that gets built as it goes up in the levels. So we can get that done. We've basically already got the building built. But nether warts, here is the big question. Nether, yeah, it's bad news. I've only got 7 of this, but what we're going to do is we're going to put the nether warts in the warehouse instead. We're also going to get some flint and steel. Flint, no, not blint. Not font. Flint, there we go. We've got 2 flint and steels here. We might as well make a couple more and go and drop those off with the nether miner, just so he has a way to get into and out of the nether. That seems like a pretty important thing. So I did say that there's always a chance the nether miner can die in the nether whenever they go there, but there is a way you can stop that. So, well, not really stop it. Basically, the higher the nether miner's stats, the less likely they are to die in the nether. But the thing is, the fact that there is even a chance at any level to die in the nether means it is kind of redundant to send anybody that's that good. So we'll give you now, in your inventory, some of these flint and steels. It looks like they've already got some armor, some torches, and some cobblestone. So I'm sure they'll gather the other bits they need in the background. So there we go, the nether miner is working. They should get us some nether wart, and once they do, we'll be able to build the alchemist's tower. We've also got the concrete mixer research underway, but that's a really long research. It's going to take us 4 hours. Oh, wait a minute, my dudes, we've been foiled again. So we also need to get those lungs for the glassblower's hut, which does mean the smeltery has to be level 3. I knew something was locked behind the smeltery. I thought it was the concrete mixer's hut, but no, it's the glassblower. So in fact, what we might as well do is get the smeltery up to level 3, and by the time it's level 3, we'll probably have the concrete mixer's hut research done. So let's do it. It shouldn't be a complicated build. We've built a lot of things to level 3 already, so we should have the materials lying around to get this to level 3. So a very simple and quick build from the smeltery up to level 2 and then to 3. However, honestly, I kind of like the look of the level 2 building here a bit more. I love that open plan setup. Anyway, now it's level 3. Let's get back in game. So that build took a fair old while. I reckon we've probably done the research by now. Can't remember if it came up or not. I was kind of AFK for most of the builds, but here we go. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, 0 of 3, which means, where are we? Yeah, there it is. Pave the road. We've got the concrete mixer's hut. Now we can set in motion the glass blower down here, those lungs. We've still got the glass that we had from like last episode when we did the research. That's good news. So that, plus the nether wart for the alchemist's hut, and that's the complete colony finished. Now we don't need to worry too much about the glassblower's hut because it's deep inside one of the estates, so we can upgrade the estate and the glassblower will be a pretty simple craft. Likewise, the alchemist is part of the doggo onsen, so as we upgrade the onsen, that's also going to upgrade the alchemist, but we do need the concrete mixer's hut, so let's go and grab that from our computer and find a place to put it down. So here we are. How's it going, Dusk Douglas? What are you doing over here? Your hut's over there. Are you taking a look around? Are you exploring the colony? Because honestly, it looks pretty good out here. For the moat, let me take a look and show you guys what we did. So I wanted to put like a splash of different texture and variation. And that's why underneath the moat, you can see a mix of mossy cobble, regular cobble, andesite, and mossy blocks, all arranged in a pretty random pattern. And I think this makes a much better looking bottom of the moat than just leaving it to regular stone and dirt. Anyway, that's just a small decoration tip there. If I remember rightly, the concrete mixer's hut was kind of designed to be built on a hill, so it might actually match up with the side of the graveyard we have over here quite well. Remind me to fix that wall, because that looks super ugly. But yeah, let's put it down and see what we can get this to look like. Okay, my dudes, yeah, you're probably wondering, hang on a sec, what just happened to the game? Why does this suddenly look like it's 2010? And Minecraft, yeah, oh my god, my shaders, where have they gone? And you guys have probably felt this too, so if you're building colonies on this mod pack in this version of Minecolonies and Minecraft, you might have been placing down your buildings and putting down a template, and the game totally freezes. It's like a weird thing. Whenever I put a template down, if I've got shaders on, and the template goes too close to certain other buildings, when it's trying to load those other buildings, the game just lags to pieces. And just now, trying to get it next to this graveyard, the game completely froze. And it's like a weird one, and honestly, like last episode, when I was trying to build all of these buildings, my game froze like upwards of 10 times. It was crazy. However, when you do turn shaders off, and this is like a helpful tip for some of you guys at home because you may have had the same problem, but basically when you turn shaders off, if we go over here, craftsmanship, I think it's luxury, concrete mixer. But yeah, placing down and maneuvering buildings around while you're in non-shader mode, so without shaders, I suppose, is so much easier. That's a little bit of a tip for you guys if you're having troubles. Anyway, now we have the building in kind of the location we want. What I want to do is I want to incorporate this water wheel into the build. And you see here the river from the water wheel, basically the water river thing, comes down this way. So what we can do is we can have it come down here and interact with the moat we have from the castle. We can build a little bit of a bridge here. I think that would look pretty cool. It's always good to incorporate the build and the landscape, you know, make it all cohesive. Anyway, I'm going to turn back on shaders, put this building down, and we can watch the time lapse go up. But oh man, yeah, top tip, turn off shaders when you're placing buildings. So the concrete mixer's hut at last. This is one of the final buildings, the final building at least. The other huts are inside other buildings, but this is the final big build of the colony. Very amazing. Now it is quite out of the way for our builder Dunmore the Diva, but he isn't much of a diva about it. He does get to work eventually. But it took a bit longer than I was expecting even to get this to level 1. The water wheel on the side of the building does look very, very cool. I'm very happy with that. And it's going to be really cool to map the river in with the moat to the castle and kind of get all of the water in the lower city connected. But as the building comes to a finish, it's about time to go inside this build and hire ourselves a concrete mixer. Okay, here we go. So we're going to hire a concrete mixer. It's not exactly the most important job on the colony because, yeah, concrete isn't really used that much. Not on the regular at least, but it's good to have all of the buildings. And do we have anybody with good stats? Yeah, looks like Mardo Jotunson is a pretty good hire for this. Oh my god, yeah, so the builder had some trouble with water during this build, and it looks like unless we save Dunmore like a baby, they're going to drown in like 6 inches of water, so we're going to have to save him. But yeah, also the build took a long time for me to do, mostly because I forgot. We set Dunmore up with all the other builds on the colony to get completed. So there's a few huts around the onsen and other buildings that also need some workers. And one of those is a hospital over here. We're going to need a second doctor. So it looks like Klaus Mora, who's a student at the moment, but we'll get you in. As you can see, Klaus's intelligence is now 30. So basically, when somebody is a colonist and they want to get better at whatever they do, they go to the library to become, you know, a better colonist. What this does is it increases their intelligence. And a colonist with high intelligence learns all the other stats much, much quicker in a job. So we'll get Klaus over here, and they're going to become a doctor. Oh yeah, looking very sharp, Klaus. Now we've got a couple of dudes. Oh no, influenza has hit. So because this is a hospital, colonists are coming over here, but we need to make sure we set minimum stock and add a stack of potato. And a stack of carrots. And there we go. Now the hospital should have all the stuff it needs to get people cured. Also, Odin Bat's over here. Yeah, I know the bed's occupied, but what's Odin Bat's up to? Yeah, he's also got the flu. So once some carrots and potatoes get over here, those guys will get cured. Amazing stuff. Now there's also the combat academies from the castle. As you can see, the moat extends out here, and these things are built. You don't need a drill sergeant or anything to train your dudes, but you can assign a knight over here. And the way the Combat Academy works is basically someone who's unemployed can come over here and they'll start training to be a knight. They'll raise their stats that are important to being a guard, and then when one of your knights dies, they will hire from the people that are in the Combat Academy first. Then if there's nobody left training in the Combat Academy, they'll hire from, you know, the unemployed dudes, but it's a good way to make sure that the best trained dudes do actually become knights and not your regular unemployed dudes. But we've only got one dude left. Now, since we did the glassblower research as well, we can get this building built, and the materials for this are very simple indeed. So we'll get Dunmore on this, and that means we'll have a glassblower as well. Oh my god, almost all of the huts are built. There's the dyer's hut over here. It looks pretty simple at level 1, but we'll get this building up to level 2 and 3 pretty quickly. We do need a dyer, and I reckon Sir Bobohead, you're the one. But we've still got another job to get, a baker. Oh man, there's just so much to do on the colony, but we really are making amazing progress. We're getting there. We've also built the bakery down there in the other estate that's in the lower city. So yeah, we need, I guess, what, 1, 2, we need a whole bunch more dudes. Now, something I totally missed is, oh my god, so when we upgraded the smeltery, Oh, rest in peace, tree. We did lose most of this tree. Yeah, and that looks pretty ugly, so we are going to have to get rid of that. I'll probably get rid of it now, actually. There's the bottom half. We'll get the top later, because I'm going to have to go up into that guard tower and climb out the window. But that's okay. But oh man, all in a day's work. I reckon we're going to call it there, because next episode, what I want to start with is getting all of our buildings up to level 3. I think that'll be a good place to start. Also, we're going to need to look into what's required to get our buildings to level 4. We have our fishermen's huts up to level 3, and they should have been getting some prismarine for us, but maybe they haven't been. Either way, we'll take a look at the materials required to get the builders' huts to level 4, because, oh, why is there a cat here in the builder's hut? Sakura, have you got yourself a pet cat? And what are they doing to the post box? Wait, are you Jess? From Postman Pat? Oh, who knows, it looks like Jess. But there's Miraceria Giblin over here, there is Sirius Bailey, Ambriel Baby, god, another Ambriel. Jessim Marshall, Cypherax Steam? Oh my god, we've got so many dudes to pick from. But we're going to call it for now, and next episode we'll crack on with the colony. So, Kaito, have you got for me a haiku?
How about a haiku about the cat you just found? Let me think. Perched on cold metal, tail flicks in the evening breeze. Silent king watches.
Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful poem. So my dudes, a massive thank you for watching this episode. We're getting very, very close to the end of the colony now. I reckon maybe 2, maybe 3 more episodes, and we'll have this whole thing in the bag. And I can't wait to zip the finished colony up and upload it as a world download for my Patreon dudes. So a massive thank you for watching, and until next episode, take care.